The silence began with a chair. Not a dramatic exit. Not raised voices or slammed fists. Just the quiet scrape of metal against stone as the human ambassador pushed her chair back from the negotiation table. The Galactic Council chamber had hosted wars and ended them. It was designed for spectacle: vaulted ceilings, layered platforms, translation fields humming softly as dozens of species argued in parallel. Every delegation used posture, light, scent, or sound to assert dominance. Humanity had brought none of that. Their delegation had arrived unarmed, unaugmented, dressed in plain diplomatic attire. No bonus. No military advisor standing behind them. Just 3 humans seated calmly at a long arc of alien power. For 6 days the peace talks had dragged on. And for 6 days the humans had compromised. The conflict itself was simple in cause and catastrophic in scale. A border war between the Taylor Dominion and the MYR Collective had spilled into civilian space. Entire transit corridors were destabilized. Refugee worlds overflowed. Casualty numbers climbed faster than the Council could publish them. Humanity had intervened early. Evacuations, medical aid, stabilization fleets. That was why they were here. The Council wanted peace. On its terms. Speaker Zelvar Prime pulsed gently at the center dais. Its crystalline energy form refracting Council light. "Let us resume," it intoned. "Human delegation, your proposal was revised." Ambassador Lena Ortiz glanced at the document projected in front of her. She read it once. Then again. Her expression didn't change. The revisions were small on the surface. Minor language shifts. Jurisdictional clarifications. Shared authority clauses. But the meaning was clear. Human evacuation corridors would now require Council approval. Human relief fleets would operate under regional oversight. Civilian extraction would be limited to recognized populations. Recognized by whom was not specified. Lena folded her hands. "Speaker," she said calmly, "this revision makes civilian rescue conditional." Zelvar's light patterns rippled. "It ensures balance." "It ensures delay," Lena replied. "People die in delays." A murmur spread through the chamber. The Taylor representative clicked his mandibles. "Human urgency is noted, but unilateral action destabilizes order." "We've heard this before," Lena said quietly. The MWR delegate leaned forward, voice sharp. "Your species intervened without authorization. You disrupted our strategic objectives." Lena looked at him. "Your strategic objectives involved a city with 4 million civilians." "Acceptable losses," the MWR said. The human delegates went still. For the first time in 6 days, Lena did not immediately respond. She looked down the table at her colleagues. One of them, a younger man, military bearing softened by exhaustion, shook his head almost imperceptibly. The other closed her eyes. Lena stood. The chamber stilled, confused. "Ambassador Ortiz?" Zelvar asked. "Please remain seated." Lena did not. "We came here in good faith," she said. "We shared intelligence. We slowed the fighting. We evacuated your civilians when you wouldn't." She placed a small data chip on the table. "This contains the casualty projections for the next 72 hours if this version passes." No one reached for it. "We asked for unrestricted humanitarian corridors," Lena continued. "You answered with committees." The Taylor envoy scoffed. "You are not the arbiters of galactic morality." Lena met his gaze. "No," she said. "We're the ones pulling children out of rubble while you debate wording." Zelvar's voice sharpened. "Ambassador, this rhetoric is unproductive." Lena nodded. "I agree." She pushed her chair back. The sound echoed far louder than it should have. "We're done," she said. The translation fields hesitated, as if unsure the words were correct. Sendvarf nodded brightly. "Human delegation, you cannot simply." Lena picked up her tablet. "We can," she said. "And we are." She turned and walked away from the table. Her colleagues rose with her. "No srits. No finesse statements. No warnings." They didn't look back. The chamber erupted. "This is a violation of protocol. They cannot abandon the process. Recall them immediately." Zelvar projected authority across the hall. "Human delegation. Return at once. This session is not concluded." Lena paused at the threshold. She turned. Her voice was calm, controlled. "The session might not be," she said. "Our involvement is." Then she left. The doors sealed behind them. For several seconds no one spoke. The MR delegate laughed uneasily. "Dramatics." "They'll return," said the tailor. "They always do." Zelvar did not respond. Something was wrong. Council aides were already receiving alerts. Not loud ones. Quiet cascading updates. Human fleets were moving. Not toward the war zone. Away from it. Evacuation corridors began rerouting autonomously. Medical ships detached from Joint Command. Human logistics networks went dark to Council oversight. "What is this?" demanded a delegate. "Advises overlapped." "They're disengaging." "From what?" "From us." Zelvar's glow dimmed slightly. "That is not permitted." "Speaker," an aide said, voice tight. "They're not violating any binding treaty." Silence. The humans had followed the rules. Every one of them. They simply stopped participating. The first consequence hit within the hour. A civilian transport carrying 20,000 refugees requested emergency docking. Council authorization was pending. Human rescue ships, no longer bound by Council coordination, bypassed the request. They didn't refuse. They didn't answer. They were gone. "What are they doing?" the Amora demanded. Zelvar watched the feed scroll past. "They are withdrawing consent," it said slowly. "And what does that mean?" asked a junior delegate. Zelvar did not answer immediately, because somewhere deep in its ancient processing core, an uncomfortable realization was forming. Humanity had not been negotiating for peace. They had been negotiating for permission. And now that permission was no longer being sought. Outside the chamber, the galaxy kept burning. Inside, the council finally understood the sound of the chair scraping back. It wasn't anger. It wasn't threat. It was the sound of humans deciding they were done asking. The first mistake the council made was assuming the humans would cool off. The second was assuming silence meant inactivity. Within 12 hours of the walkout, council monitoring stations began reporting gaps. Small at first, almost ignorable. A medical convoy failed to report in. A refugee corridor rerouted itself without filing the usual documentation. A human patrol group deactivated its shared transponder and continued on a private channel. Nothing illegal. Nothing dramatic. Just absence. The border war did not slow. Without human evacuation teams extracting civilians from collapsing zones, casualty numbers spiked sharply. Relief stations that had relied on human logistics ran out of supplies within a single cycle. Council peacekeepers, untrained for mass humanitarian response, were overwhelmed. "We need the humans back," a delegate muttered during an emergency reconvening. "They will return once tempers cool," said the tailor envoy, though his voice lacked conviction. Speaker Zalvar Prime said nothing. Instead, it reviewed the data. Human assets had not merely withdrawn from the conflict zone. They had repositioned. Civilian protection fleets now ring neutral systems. Human medical ships clustered near refugee-heavy sectors the Council had previously labeled strategically expendable. Entire logistics networks had been restructured away from Council oversight, flowing through bilateral agreements signed years ago and rarely referenced. "They planned this," Zelvar said quietly. A junior aide looked up. "Planned what?" "Departure," the speaker replied. A priority alert interrupted the chamber. A neutral world, one that had refused to vote on the revised proposal, was under imminent attack. Council forces scrambled. Too late. Human ships arrived first. They did not engage the attackers. They evacuated the planet. Every civilian. In under 6 hours. The attackers found an empty world. The galaxy noticed. Independent systems began filing requests. Not to the Council. To human diplomatic channels. Evacuation assistance. Medical support. Defensive coordination. The Council issued a statement reminding all members of proper procedure. No one acknowledged it. Another alert followed. A Council-aligned task force requested emergency resupply. Human logistics hubs responded with a single message. Request denied. No explanation. No condemnation. Just denial. The MWR delegate slammed a claw against the table. This is coercion. No, Zelvar said. This is consent withdrawn. Days passed. The war dragged on. And everywhere humans were not present, things grew worse. The council convened again, quieter this time. Nos chauting. No paschering. Just fear creeping in unspoken. We must re-engage, said a crystalline delegate. Offer concessions. Admit error, whispered another. The Taylor envoy bristled. We cannot capitulate. Zelvar turned its attention inward. Capitulation is not what they seek, it said. Then what? Demanded the Amur. Zelvar projected the final recorded image from the negotiation chamber. Lena Ortiz standing, chair pushed back, expression tired but resolute. They sought permission to save lives, Zelvar said. We denied it. A private channel pinged. Human diplomatic transmission. The chamber froze. Send vote accepted. Lena Ortiz appeared on the projection. She looked more exhausted now, but she was not angry. You called, she said. Zelvar inclined its form. We wish to resume talks. Lena shook her head gently. We're not coming back to that table. The words landed heavily. Then how do we proceed? Zelvar asked. Lena's gaze was steady. You stop trying to manage us, she said, and start asking how to help. Silence followed. Finally Zelvar spoke. What if we refuse? Lena didn't hesitate. Then we'll keep doing what we're doing, she said. Without you. The channel closed. Across the galaxy the realization spread. Humanity did not need the Council to act. The Council needed humanity to matter. From that day on treaties changed. Language softened. And when humans stood up in a room, no one mistook it for a tantrum again. Because the galaxy had learned something vital. When humanity walks out of peace talks, they aren't abandoning peace. They're taking responsibility for it. And they won't wait for permission.